The Kansas City Chiefs, since 2019, have made it to 6 straight AFC Championship games, 5 Super Bowl appearances, 3 Super Bowl victories, Super Bowl 59 with the chance to three-peat, got absolutely smashed by the Eagles. Which begs the question, are the Chiefs actually done? Have they finally been figured out? The dynasty book on their story, has it been closed? A blowout loss in the title game? Is this actually it for them? That I find to be quite complicated in terms of coming up with an undisputed answer, because on one hand, while Super Bowl 59 was quite the embarrassment for Kansas City, getting outplayed, outcoached, simply outclassed by the Eagles, you can make the argument that no, obviously they are not done. They lost the championship after making it to the championship game for the 3rd straight season. This Super Bowl, they just came up short, but there will be plenty of more Super Bowl appearances for this team. On the other hand, the season that they just had in 2024, a 15-2 record, 11 out of those 15 wins were within one score. They've had many flaws this past season that they were able to get away with because of Patrick Mahomes. He's typically able to overcome all the flaws. He's the ultimate equalizer. Those flaws came back to bite Kansas City in the ass as Philadelphia exploited them. Defensively, I think the Chiefs just got. Steve Spagnuolo is one of the best defensive callers, if not the best in football, but he got severely outcoached by Kellen Moore. Kansas City's defense is not fraudulent. They were a top 10 defense last year, as well as a top 5 scoring defense. They're legit. You just have to give all the proper credit and respect to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Chiefs' offense, on the other hand, you could pinpoint the foreshadowing, not even in hindsight, but in real time, that, man, you know what? If the Chiefs are going to win their 3rd straight title, this title, if they win it, is going to have to be by a razor-thin margin. Mahomes is going to have to do it all by himself, which is why Kansas City was favored by 1.5 points. All they've done in 2024 was win close games because of their quarterback, one of the GOATs, no longer throwing 60-yard touchdown bomb passes to Tyreek Hill. The Chiefs' passing offense was 27th in 20-plus yard plays and tied for 2nd fewest 40-plus yard plays. But Mahomes, with how great of a player that he is, would remedy that by simply making the right plays, ultimately leading to wins. No matter how ugly or nasty it got, he simply got the job done. Before the Eagles, they demonstrated that that is not going to be the case against us, that we have the much better overall roster, and we'll be damned if we're going to let one player Superman his way past us. For the Chiefs' offense, their offensive line is typically composed of an elite interior with Joe Thuney at left guard, Creed Humphrey at center, and Trey Smith at right guard, paired with poor play from their offensive tackles. But with the left tackle being such a problem, the Chiefs felt the need, and at the time, I get it, moving Joe Thuney from left guard to the outside, protecting the blind side of Patrick Mahomes. Initially, it worked out, but having an offensive line in disarray is the last thing that you want going up against the best defensive line in football, that is the Philadelphia Eagles. The Chiefs had a roll of 1-ply toilet paper, hoping that it would hold off a stampede of rhinos. That protection got blown to smithereens. Having a patchwork offensive line is no match for the likes of Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, Josh Sweat, and Milton Williams. The result of that matchup, Patrick Mahomes was under siege the entire game, taking 11 hits and 6 sacks. Poor offensive line play led to the offense not being able to ever get into a rhythm. That, combined with trying to make plays with a poor collection of playmakers, lack of talent up front with the offensive line, and lack of talent with your receivers. For the Chiefs offense going into the offseason, their offensive line is going to be in even worse shape as far as trying to improve it, because their right guard, Trey Smith, he's going to be a free agent. And with his projected market value of $20 million per year, according to Spotrac, it's highly unlikely that Kansas City can afford to keep him. That leaves 3 positions on the offensive line in serious need of addressing. That is left tackle, right guard, and right tackle. The right tackle, Jawaan Taylor, the way that his contract is constructed, you're actually better off financially waiting after next year to cut him. So just deal with him for 2025. So that leaves realistically this offseason 2 upgrades at most that you can make on the O-line. That is left tackle and right guard. But it doesn't stop there for the Chiefs offense. They also need serious help at receiver. Losing Rashee Rice for the rest of the season after the first 4 games was a major blow. But he should be healthy and ready to go by the start of 2025. After that, outside of Xavier Worthy, the Chiefs have nothing as far as playmakers are concerned, and that includes the tight end position. Travis Kelce needs to retire. In theory, Kansas City, they could cut him and save $17 million in cap. I don't see the Chiefs doing that just out of pure respect, which makes sense. He's a Chiefs legend, one of the greatest tight ends of all time. But if he decides to stick it out and play out the final year of his contract, okay, fine. He cannot be the tight end 1 if you want to seriously try and win another Lombardi trophy. You can't do it with him. You can run 12 formations all day long and have a true tight end 1 there with Kelce on the field as well. But the dynamic playmaking ability with Travis Kelce is no longer there. And he's noticeably slower off the snap with his release, running routes and making his cuts. It's very sluggish and tough to watch. Having this version of Travis Kelce as your tight end 1 hurts your team baseline. But what hurts even more is this version of Travis Kelce counting $20 million against the cap. You're also going to have to address the running back position in the draft. Isaiah Pacheco is a violent runner with the football in his hands. When healthy, he's a force. But after getting hurt week 2, subsequently missing weeks 3 through 12, when he returned, Pacheco just wasn't the same guy. Will he return to form in 2025, the final year of his rookie contract? Maybe, but you're going to need a backup plan, an insurance policy, if you will. But I'm not going to say that the Chiefs are done. They just made the Super Bowl for the 3rd straight year. And I do think they will continue to dominate the AFC until the Bills or the Ravens decide to do anything about it. But the Philadelphia Eagles, they aren't going anywhere. What they just did, controlling the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, even if you're able to shut down Saquon Barkley, that pass protection is going to give Jalen Hurts plenty of time to make plays to his dynamic receivers. They're going to be a problem, I think, for at least the next 2 to 3 years. And for Kansas City, there's a high likelihood that you're going to end up facing off against the Eagles in a Super Bowl again for at least a 3rd time. And the idea that you can win another title with a mediocre supporting cast is no longer a viable option. Long gone are the days where Patrick Mahomes can win a trophy by himself. You want to be better prepared for a team like Philly, you need to get Mahomes some actual help. And I did a mock draft, in which case I got 3 immediate impact players. At pick 31, the Kansas City Chiefs select Josh Conerly Jr., left tackle from Oregon. Joe Thuney moves back to his natural position of left guard. You no longer have to play musical chairs with the offensive line, and you get a quality starter to protect the blind side of Patrick Mahomes. At pick 63, the Chiefs select Marcus Mbow, guard from Purdue. He did play right tackle for the Boilermakers, but he's projected to be an interior offensive lineman at the next level. Marcus Mbow replaces Trey Smith at right guard. At pick 66, the Chiefs select Harold Fannin Jr., tight end from Bowling Green. Make no mistake about it, this guy is going to be a star. He's explosive with his route running, yards after the catch, a solid run blocker. Pairing him with Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice would go crazy. That's a nice trio. At pick 95, the Chiefs select Xavier Restrepo, wide receiver from Miami. Solid complementary piece to the new Big Three. Pick 132, Devin Neal, running back from Kansas, the number 2 to Isaiah Pacheco. And at pick 256, Ty Hamilton, D tackle from Ohio State. And with this mock draft, I believe the Chiefs would go from a bottom half offense as they were in 2024, where Mahomes was the most hit quarterback in the league, as well as the 4th most pressured quarterback in football, to a more solidified offensive line, better collection of playmakers. I'm not going to say that with these upgrades that the Chiefs would for sure beat the Eagles the second time around, or more so the third time around. But they would certainly be, I think, more competitive. Even in a loss, they would be a tough out, certainly not a blowout. But this, I believe, is the path to take for Kansas City in order for them to reach their, or get back to their championship level form. So no, I don't believe Kansas City is done. They've just encountered, albeit a significant bump in the road, but I do think they'll get closer to what they once were. And at the very least, they'll be back in the Super Bowl again next year.